Case 5. Harry and Harriet Moore. Harry T. Moore was born on November 18, 1905 in Houston, Florida. Harriet Vida. Sims Moore was born on June 19, 1902 in West Palm Beach, Florida. They married on Christmas Day, 1926. Harry became executive director of the Florida NAACP and spent decades registering black voters, investigating lynchings, and pushing for prosecution of white men who murdered black Floridians. By 1950, he had helped more than 100,000 black Floridians register to vote. The Ku Klux Klan considered him one of the most dangerous men in the state. On Christmas night, December 25, 1951, also Harry and Harriet's 25th wedding anniversary, the two of them lay in their bed at their home in Mims, Florida. At 10:20 p.m., a bomb planted directly beneath the bedroom floor exploded. The blast threw Harry against the ceiling and collapsed the floor beneath them both. Neighbors rushed to the house. The nearest hospital could not treat them. It only accepted white patients. The nearest hospital that would treat black patients was nearly 30 miles away. Harry T. Moore was loaded into the back of a car and died on the way there, in his mother's arms. He was 46 years old. Harriet was taken to a separate hospital where she lingered in severe pain for 9 days. She died on January 3, 1952. She was 49 years old. Their daughter Evangeline later said, "They killed both of them. They just took longer with Mama." 5 separate investigations were conducted over the next 57 years by the FBI, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and independent researchers. Each identified suspects, most of them Ku Klux Klan members from the Orange County chapter. Each investigation ended without charges. Suspects died. Witnesses recanted. Evidence went cold. One pattern became undeniable. During the very years Harry Moore was being bombed, the FBI was spending resources investigating the NAACP itself, the country's leading civil rights organization at the time, and treating them as a communist threat rather than the men who murdered its leaders. No one was ever charged. No one was ever convicted. Case 4. Emmett Till. Emmett Louis Till was born on July 25, 1941 in Chicago, Illinois, and grew up on the city's south side with his mother, Mamie Till. In August 1955, at age 14, Emmett traveled to Money, Mississippi to spend the summer with his great-uncle Moses Wright. His mother had warned him that the South operated under different rules, and that a black child who said the wrong thing to a white adult could be killed for it. On August 24, 1955, Emmett stopped at Bryant's Grocery and Meat Market, a store owned by a white couple named Roy and Carolyn Bryant. What exactly happened inside has never been definitively established. Carolyn Bryant told her husband that Emmett had grabbed her, whistled at her, and made advances. 3 days later, on August 28, 1955, at 2:30 a.m., Roy Bryant and his half-brother J.W. Milam drove to Moses Wright's home, dragged Emmett out of bed, and drove him to a barn on Milam's property in Drew, Mississippi, where they beat him. They then drove him to the Tallahatchie River, shot him once in the head above his right ear, tied a 70-pound cotton gin fan around his neck with barbed wire, and threw his body into the water. Emmett was 14 years old. His mother, Mamie Till, insisted on an open casket at his Chicago funeral so the world could see what had been done to her son. More than 50,000 people came. At trial in September 1955, an all-white jury deliberated for 67 minutes and acquitted both men. One juror later said they had taken a soda break to make the deliberation look longer than it was. Protected by double jeopardy, the law that says a person cannot be tried twice for the same crime, Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam sold their full confession to Look magazine for $4,000 in January 1956 and admitted to everything in print. In 2008, Carolyn Bryant told a writer that she had lied. The part about Emmett grabbing her and making advances, she admitted, was not true. She was 83 years old. She died on April 25, 2023, without ever facing a charge. Case 3. Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was born on August 30, 1948 in Summit, Illinois. By age 20, he had organized the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, a political organization that ran free breakfast programs for children, free medical clinics, and legal aid in Chicago's poorest neighborhoods. He was building alliances between black, white, and Latino street gangs, convincing them to stop fighting each other and push for better conditions from the city instead. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had called the Black Panther Party the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. Hampton was 21 years old. The FBI had placed an informant inside Hampton's inner circle, a man named William O'Neill, who had worked his way into Hampton's trust and become his chief of security. In December 1969, O'Neill gave the FBI a detailed floor plan of Hampton's apartment at 2337 West Monroe Street in Chicago, marking the exact location of Hampton's bed. On the night of December 3rd, O'Neill slipped Seco-Barbital, a powerful prescription sleeping drug, into Hampton's Kool-Aid at a dinner party. At 4:45 a.m. on December 4th, 1969, 14 Chicago police officers, coordinated by the FBI, entered the apartment. They fired 99 shots. The Panthers inside fired 1. Hampton was in his bed, unconscious from the drug O'Neill had put in his drink, and was shot twice in the head at point-blank range while he lay there. A forensic investigation later confirmed that nearly all 99 shots were fired inward into the apartment, not outward by the Panthers. His girlfriend, Deborah Johnson, 8.5 months pregnant with his child, was dragged from the bed beside him and forced to walk past his body. One officer was heard on a recording made that morning. "He's good and dead now." Fred Hampton was 21 years old. In 1982, his family received a $1.85 million civil settlement from the city of Chicago, Cook County, and the federal government. Not one officer was ever convicted.